Hello friends, it is time for me to make a new batch of herbal infusions for the month. So I thought I'd make a little video to show you exactly my procedure and my steps and how I go about making my herbal blends. So of course I've got some smoke medicine and a candle right here. So I'll take a moment to burn some herbs. This is pine, thuja, and mugwort. You can hear the evergreen popping. I just like to take a moment to smell the lovely smoke, allow myself to ground into the moment, ground into my intentions of what I'm doing, and of course also to offer gratitude to all the plants who are going to be collaborating with me today. It's just such an important part of my process is gratitude. It's just being so aware and grateful for, everything I have, but especially for the plant allies who have joined with me to collaborate on my health and well-being. So I'm going to be making my infusion blend with some herbs that are very common. I'm sure you have heard of them. I'll be making my blend today with nettle, tulsi, lemon balm, milky oat tops, and a little bit of rose petals. The rose I add more for its energetic and emotional properties, not so much its specific physical properties. So I'm going to be using about a cup each of the main herbs and just a sprinkle of rose petals. I'll just use my intuition for that. So here we go. I've got my nettle. This is actually nettle that from my front yard from the beginning of the season. So this is fresh spring nettle, and it is so dark green and vibrant. I actually collected lots of nettles this spring, so I'll have nettles, local nettles, into the winter. Here's my measuring cup, and of course I do this very roughly. The cup measuring is just to kind of get the basic idea. If it's more spills out or over the side of the cup, it doesn't quite matter. So I'm even thinking this is pretty roughly cut, or not really cut that much at all. So I'm going to pack it down a little bit, and let's do heaping. About a heaping cupful of nettle. And then just put that in. Close up the bag. And up next is lemon balm. I thought I might not have a cup of lemon balm, but I think I definitely do. So let's pour some of this lemon balm in here. Again, this is lemon balm from my garden. When I first started making herbal infusions, I bought all of my herbs because I wasn't in a place to be growing them or buying them locally. But now with a little bit more experience, a little bit more planning, I can wild forage or grow most of my herbs, which is so awesome. Because when you buy it from the store or online, most likely it's not going to have that like bright green, fresh vibrancy that herbs that you harvest yourself will. So again, here's another heaping cupful of lemon balm. And before I go any further, these leaves are kind of cut up into big pieces or not even really chopped up at all. So with my hands, I'm just gonna go in and kind of do this kind of thing just to make the pieces a little bit smaller. And there's a couple reasons for this. It'll make bagging it even easier, the smaller the pieces are. And also when you're mixing the herbs with water, you want smaller pieces so the cell walls break down. The water can more easily absorb potent plant constituents. So just by running my fingers through these dried herbs, I'm already making these pieces much smaller. All right, so that's the lemon balm and the nettle. This is local tulsi from my local organic farm. Again, these are in big pieces too, but I did chop these up with, there's a lot of flowers in here, so I did actually use a pair of scissors before I put them in the jar. And you know what? I'm just going to use all of this tulsi. Perfect. And the milky oat tops. These are actually grown local in Dartmouth, Massachusetts. And they're not super finely processed either. So these are gonna come out in a big kind of chunk as well, which I'll break up a little bit more. So milky oat tops are the same. You know, I'm gonna use all of this as well. Milky oat tops is the same plant as the oat straw. These are just more of the seeds. And I'm gonna just break these up apart. You know what, I'm gonna need, because these are packaged kind of like this, and that's kind of a big piece. So I'm going to go grab a pair of scissors and chop it up a little bit. Got my scissors, and I'm just going to, in the bowl, just go in with the scissors and just try to chop up some of the little stems that are connecting the oat straw, because that will make it much easier to bag in just a few minutes when we get there. All right, even just those few little snips have already made a pretty big difference. All right. So we've got, look how beautiful that is. Tulsi, and it smells so good. Tulsi, lemon balm, nettle, and milky oat tops. And what a vibrant, beautiful blend of locally grown herbs. This is going to be really magical to drink this. And the rose petals are local too. This is Rosa rugosa that I harvest down at the beach. Oh my gosh, they smell just as incredible as they did when I picked them. So I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle, well, that's kind of a lot. Sprinkle some rose petals in here. This is of course going to add like such a beautiful color to the blend. So there's some rose petals. And now with my hands, I'll just mix it up. And I think I added a good amount of rose. You can see how lovely that is. Awesome. All right. So there's my blend. So before I bag this up into compostable tea bags, which is what I do because it just makes making my infusion so much easier in the mornings, I'm going to make a batch to try. So I got my jar right here. Here's my tea bags. I like these compostable tea bags. So you could do this many ways. You could just put this right in the jar if you had some sort of strainer, or they even have straws with strainer at the bottom, which would be awesome. You could reuse like a reusable mesh tea bag. I like using these because I'll prepare them all ahead of time. So then when I'm going to make my daily infusion in the morning, it's just like grab a bag and go. I don't have to do any mixing or blending or anything like that. So I like to use, I just get like a regular tablespoon. And I do like 3 heaping tablespoons, or 2, like, you know, a little bit between that and a 1/4 cup in my tea bag. So I already have this blend mixed. So I'm just going to take those heaping tablespoons and put them in. And because these plants are a little bit bigger, it's going to be a little bit messier. That's okay. You just do it right over the bowl. So your tea bag is pretty full. You know what, I'm gonna add a little bit more because this is so loose, needs a little bit more. So I guess I'll do 4 heaping tablespoons. I kind of just hold the bag like this, and then you can get the herbs down at the bottom, and then twist and tie it up. Done. There's my little Herbal Infusion tea bag for the day. Throw the bag in the jar, and get this out of the way. You can see it right there. And this is water that was boiling right before I started this video, so it's had a few minutes to sit, which is actually the ideal temperature for an herbal infusion because you don't want it to be like scorching boiling water onto the plants. And I will pour this in. Could have used a little bit more water to fill up the jar, but that's fine. You might already be able to see some color leaving. And then I have this great little lid to keep the steam in the jar. So now I'm going to let this sit for about 20 minutes or so, 20 minutes, half an hour or so, and then give it a taste. And then once I taste it, I'll be able to tell it needs a little bit more of this, it needs a little bit less of this. Well, I guess if it needs less of something, I'll just add more of the other things. So let's just take a break, and I'll be back in about a half an hour to try my tea, make any adjustments to my blend, and then bag it up. Okay, here is my yummy infusion. Look how much the color has changed already. Let's give it a sip. It smells, I can smell the nettle and the lemon balm particularly. It smells very earthy and very lemony. It's really, really delicious. I thought I'd be able to taste the lemon balm more, but it just has this really lovely, like whole earth kind of taste. My first reaction was that I wanted to put more lemon balm in it so I could taste that more, but I actually think it's totally perfect as it is. So it's hot today and I'm already a little warm from just taking those few sips. So what I'll do for the next month, or the end of the summer, is make this at night. So I'll do what I just did, put the bag in here, add the hot water, do it at night. That way it steeps all night. And in the morning, I'll have like a room temperature, really strong medicinal herbal beverage to drink. Wow, I really love this mix, and I think it's actually the fresh tulsi that's making such a huge difference. It's really incredible. I think I've only ever used, bought online tulsi before. Wow, awesome. That's excellent. I love, love, love my new blend. So now comes the part of bagging it. So this takes a little bit of time, but in my life, mornings are not my favorite time of the day. I'm usually, I have a 4-year-old that I'm getting to school or doing something with, so I don't have time to be doing this individually every single day. So I'm going to take the time now to bag up all of this tea, and then I'll store it in a canister just like this. In my cabinet, so that in the morning I'll just grab it out. So again, let me get out a bunch of these bags. Having a nice bowl like this is really great to do it in, because then you can kind of do all of your work right, right over the bowl. So everything that's falling out is going back in the bowl. And I'm going to do four heaping tablespoons of the herbs, kind of pat it in there, give it a little one of these, maybe even 5, maybe even 1. Maybe I'll use my hands, that might be a little bit easier. Because you want these bags to be pretty full. So now what I'll do is I will actually not tie all these right now. I could, that would make things easier, but just when I'm doing this, I kind of stack the bags like this, maybe 5 together, and then fold them all up. And then in the morning when I get the tea bag out, that's when I will tie it. So I'm gonna make these bags. I'm gonna put this video on super speed, fast motion, but you can see everything that I'm doing. Okay, so that ended up being actually more like, oh, look at some little leaves got stuck over here. That actually ended up being more like 2 weeks of blends. I usually drink, try to drink 5 quarts of tea a week. So this is 10 bags. I think a lot of that has to do with the leaves were a lot bigger, so less plant material actually fit in the cup, because the more finely chopped up plant material is, the more of it, you know, weight wise, you'll be able to get in a measuring cup. So I think that was just because the everything was, you know, bigger pieces. So this is my blend. I've got 2 weeks worth of herbs here, tied up, put it in the cabinet, and then done. So now tonight, actually, I'll probably make, I'll drink this afternoon. Tonight, I'll make another jar of this, let it sit out overnight, and then drink it tomorrow. I only recommend making a few weeks or a month's worth of infusion at a time, because things will change, things will shift. You don't want to make like 6 months or a year's worth of infusion ahead of time, because your needs and desires for working with herbs over that time will undoubtedly shift and change. So I think making a couple weeks to a month's worth at a time is your best option. So have so much fun putting your blends together. And as always, I love to know what you're drinking. Post photos on Instagram, send me an email or a text. I'd love to hear what's in your herbal blend. Have a great rest of your day.